Changing the pump seal on any Aqua Flo brand hot tub pump. We want to take all 8 screws off of the faceplate, allowing us access to the impeller. With a screwdriver, gently pry the cover off, making sure that you don't damage the O-ring that's around it. You're going to want to reuse that. Once the faceplate is off, that will expose the impeller and the wear ring. Take the wear ring off and then turn the pump around. On the back of the pump, you'll see a cover covering the center shaft of the electric motor. You're going to want to pop that off. At the end of the shaft on the electric motor, some brands of motors have a slot in there for a large flat screwdriver, or some of them have like a flat keyed edges on the shafts that allows you to use like an adjustable wrench to hold it in place. This is much preferred because you have more leverage to hold it than just a flat screwdriver. And then for the impeller, it's going to be on there fairly stubborn. Using a needle nose pliers works really good. Just insert that in the center of the impeller, open the nose on the pliers. With the handles wide open, it gives you a really good handle to break it free, and then put the adjustable wrench on the keyed back center shaft of the electric motor. That allows you to hold it. And then turn it counterclockwise. The impeller should break free without too much difficulty. And once it's free, you should be able to just spin it with your hands while you're holding the shaft of the electric motor in the back. And then just unthread it. It's counterclockwise, standard thread. And once the impeller comes off, you'll see the spring-loaded portion of the seal in the back, and you'll also see the ceramic part of the seal that's inside the volute. That's going to need to be taken out and replaced. In order to do that, we're going to want to take the volute off so that we can tap it out from the back. The volute is held in place by 4 through bolts that go all the way through the electric motor. You're going to want to just loosen all 4 of those. When you loosen them, don't pull them out all the way. They're very long and they're difficult to get back in, so loosen them and just pull them back about 1/4 of an inch. That will make it a lot easier to assemble it afterwards. Once you have them loosed, you'll see that the volute just comes off. Just pull it off, and now you'll have access to the back of it to take the ceramic seal out. Just lay it down on a flat surface, and with a screwdriver, gently tap it out from the back. The ceramic portion is seated in a rubber seat, and it will come out without any difficulties. To replace the new ceramic portion of the seal in there with your new seal, make sure that it's the correct size, and there is a front and a back to it. Make sure that the back with the rubber mount on it goes back, and that the full ceramic face is exposed to the face of it. And using our pump seal tool, put that on the ceramic ring and gently tap it back in. That will allow you to very evenly and nicely seat it in there. With it nicely seated in there, inspect to make sure it's even and straight. And now you can mount the volute back onto the electric motor. Push all the bolts back through so that they stick through the face of it, so you can line that up. Also inspect the shaft just to make sure it's in good condition when the impeller goes back on there, that there aren't any obstructions. Line up the volute and just hand start the bolts and the brass grommets that are in the back of the volute. And start all 4 bolts before you tighten them up. To tighten these bolts, you want to hand tighten them snugly. It's preferred not to use a power wrench or a power tool for this. The grommets that are embedded inside the volute where the bolts thread onto They can break free if it's tightened too much. They're going to break free, and then you'll have to replace the volute because it's not repairable. With all the bolts nice and snug, make sure everything is lined up nice and tight. Now to replace the spring-loaded portion on the impeller, just twist it off and you'll see the seal comes off, but it will leave behind a rubber seat. You're going to want to take that off as well. And once you have that free, just pull that off. That's actually part of the spring-loaded seal that holds the seal on place on the shaft so it doesn't spin. The new seal has a right side and a back side. Make sure that the part with the rubber ring is the part that faces the back of the impeller. And just push it down while gently twisting it, and you'll see that it seats nice and tight up against the back of the impeller, and you'll need to have the carbon graphic part seat up against the ceramic ring, and then just thread the impeller back onto the shaft. And then in order to tighten it up again, just use your adjustable wrench or flat screwdriver to hold the electric motor shaft in place. And then hand tighten the impeller as far as you can. You make sure that it's nice and snug. You don't want to have it sticking out or not in the proper place so that it doesn't load the seal up properly. And with it nice and snug, we need to put the wear ring back in there. Make sure the flange of the wear ring faces outside up against the face plate. It's very important that that's put on correctly. Now the Aqua Flo pumps, we can put the face plate back on. They all have a keyed location, so there's only one way to put them in. Next, you're going to want to put the 8 screws back in place. And same thing with those. Hand start them if you want to, and then if you're using an electrical wrench or a drill like we're using here, make sure you set the clutch really low. You don't want to over tighten it because the brass grommets can break free. And pop the cover back on and you're all done.